Hi Hannah, I'm so glad that we're able to be with you again today. It's been a few weeks, but I got so many comments on the last post that we did together that I wanted to follow up with that, because this issue of identity with Ed is such a crucial building block to recovery. So I'd like to start kind of where you left off last time. Last time you were talking about not even knowing what your favorite color was or your favorite food or anything. Tell us how you discovered who Ed was as opposed to who you were.
Okay. It started out, there was an assignment in the Center for Change, and they wanted me to give my own autobiography of my life and including traumas, perhaps, or feelings, memories that I had, important people in my life, kind of milestone experiences that I remembered. And then, after I completed that and shared it with group, and the group had responded to some of my stories, then they asked me to write an autobiography about my eating disorder, and I wasn't allowed to include the rest of my life. They had started the whole Never Change experience talking about Ed as a very different, they had literally separated Ed. They'd used a Halloween mask and put it on like a plant and said, see, this is Ed. So we were introduced to Ed early on as an idea of this is someone that you let take control over your life. In your efforts to find control, in your efforts to be autonomous, you give your power and control over to Ed, and you become this other individual. So I wrote my own autobiography, and it was kind of a challenge because I was so used to identifying with Ed. Whatever Ed said was the rules. And then writing my autobiography for Ed was kind of hard because I thought, well, now I can't identify with this other. Now I actually have to make a separate identity for this thing. So that was a little hard. One thing that I found it has been helpful in my desire to help other people is to point out when their behaviors or their likes and dislikes have changed. So for example, one that I recently was talking to my mom about, she had let me know, you used to like nuts and you don't like nuts anymore. What's that all about? And I denied and denied and denied. No, I've never liked nuts. I've never liked nuts. And I love them. They're so good. But it took me a while to get to the point where I said, no, Ed told me I don't like nuts. To say that Ed told me that, or that Ed convinced me that, is to say I lost power. And that's so hard to admit. It's so scary to admit because that's what your quest is. I want to be autonomous. I want to make my own choices. I want to have control over something. I want to be able to disappear. And if you say, Ed convinced me of X, Y, and Z, then you become powerless. So that's a great tip, is to point out things just in passing. It's not a judgment call. I remember a time when you used to like ice cream, when you used to like bread, when you used to like peanut butter. That was another one that I claimed I didn't like, and I love peanut butter.
Yes, you do.
Peanut butter with graham crackers, peanut butter on bread, peanut butter with fruits and vegetables. I can eat it by itself. Peanut butter with my brownies, peanut butter. I love it.
Yep.
But I was convinced that I had never liked it in my life because it was so bad. It was such a bad food. So that's one way to help. Another one that we had recently talked about on our telesummit is to point out when they do play food games, just mentioning that doesn't seem like who you are. It doesn't seem like you're acting like yourself to me. And that maybe there's something like, are you doing okay? Do you feel okay? Are you feeling comfortable? Are you feeling satisfied? I'm going to be honest about something, and as recently as a year and a half ago, I was starting to get caught up in anxiety, caught up in stress, caught up in feeling like I needed to please lots of people and that I was responsible for so many things. And a friend of mine, she wasn't a very close friend at the time. She is now, but at the time she wasn't. And she asked me, and she looked me straight in the eyes and did not break eye contact. And she said, Hannah, are you happy? And it clicked. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not. And I want to be, and I have been before, but I'm really not. And I'm honest for once. So I looked at her and I told her honestly, no, I'm not. And I started to get into, I feel responsible for 300 people, and I don't know why. So I spent some time reflecting on that, kind of having my own little come to Jesus of why do I what's going on. And I was able to move on from that experience. But it takes people calling you out and saying, hey, it doesn't seem like you're the way that you have been in the past. Something's different. And that helps you to separate me from Ed. And Ed no longer is on top of me taking my control, but I'm going to separate him and say, you don't have the power. I'm going to be who I really am, whatever that may be. Because everybody's different and everybody's unique. Everyone has their own way of being.
Great. Thanks so much, Hannah. For more information on this, you can go to www.eatingdisordershelp.com. Thanks for being with us today.